I'm just waiting for the shit to
What?
load up.
Yeah, well, we just went live all day. I wanted to say welcome to RDX Podcast. Today we're talking about a Gamescom Xbox booth leak. We're talking about FP16 for PS4 Pro and what that might do for people on that console. We're also talking about brand new games for Xbox One X and a whole lot more. Welcome to the podcast, guys. RDX. Of course, as always, we're going to start by introducing the people of the panel while people file in. And we're going to start with Ash and Luca, a.k.a. Top Fraud Curb Stomper. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been great, dude. I've been great. I'm happy to be here. It's another wonderful Tuesday night. We're going to kill it. And we got our bro D here. I can't wait for these topics, man. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah. Also, Colt, how you been, brother, since last week?
Really good. I've been excited to do this.
Yeah.
Waiting every Tuesday kind of sucks.
It does, doesn't it? Especially when we get messages from the guys that support us. It's kind of crazy. We want to get back in here and do it again. All day, what you been up to, bud?
Nothing much, man. Just working. I got like 16 jobs, man, but I've been doing good, man.
16 jobs.
Yeah, 16 jobs, man. But
we've already got over 16 likes, man. So
there we go.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Hit that like button if you guys are tuning in early. We appreciate it. D Batch, we're bringing him back. Because, well, hey, me and D, we get along very well. We got a rhythm. We've been doing this for a while. A lot of tech talk today. Well, we got a lot of everything today, really. How you been, D? Where you been up to?
Oh, man, I've been good. So lately I've been preparing my QLED versus OLED video. And, yeah, you guys are going to be surprised. Well, I don't think you'll be surprised with the results, but spoiler alert, the OLED TV is amazing. I got so caught up with it that I actually went out today and bought one for myself. Yeah.
They gotcha.
Yeah, they did.
Now just picture Dave Chappelle going, gotcha, bitch. Yeah. So how much did that OLED run you?
Well, you know, of course, because I sell them out here, I got a really good price on it. So well below retail price, but basically it cost me the same price as the top of the line QLED TV from Samsung, and of course OLED just destroys it. So I got a good deal on it.
Hey, you just made the Samsung fanboy kill themselves. We can't make any kind of claims like that, D. We can't.
I know. You know what? You know what's the hardest part, though, to be honest with you? I am that Samsung guy. Every TV in my house is Samsung. This is the first LG TV I've ever owned. But you know what? Just when you see it for yourself, it's just undeniable. They've been doing a lot of shootouts in the UK and in America, and it's winning all the awards. It's destroying the competition.
That's
so
good.
If it's costing me the same price, why not get it, right?
I gotcha. You know, and like I said, people filing in. We got a ton of great topics today. This is for the hardcore, those that happen to give a flying fuck. If you want to hear a great podcast with a lot of good opinions and knowledge, this is the place for you. We've got also the RDX questions of the day lined up, several of them picked up, ready to go. We try to get to all of them, but that's not always possible. So if you want to participate in the RDX question for the show that we answer live, follow me at dealer_gaming and submit your question on my last tweet. And right now we want to talk about some lighter subjects like Agents of Mayhem. Interesting reviews so far. Of course, if you're in the chat, let us know if you played the game. But Agents of Mayhem, right now on Metacritic, it's a 67 on PS4 and a 79 on Xbox One. Anybody picking Agents of Mayhem up here on the panel?
Well,
me.
I know last night it was I was thinking about pulling the trigger, but you know how they always tell you listen to your instinct? That's what I did.
Why is there such a disparity between the scores?
That's a really good question, and I was looking into that. The frame rate drops are pretty bad on the PS4 version right now. I'm sure it'll be fixed with a patch, or if they can, but why would they be better on the X1? The Xbox One has a slightly higher clock speed on the exact same CPU, essentially, as the PS4, and if there's a CPU bottleneck, that would explain the drops on the PS4, and not quite as badly dropped on the Xbox One. So maybe it's the frame rate drops. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Videos, and some dude had he was running like a Titan, and he was suffering a lot of hiccups in the game, like a lot of frame rate drops. I'm talking about at least from 60 to like 30, like within certain areas.
So even on PC, it's unoptimized.
But how's the online in that game though?
There is
no online.
No, just leaderboard.
Seems like a good decision not to add co-op. Not. That game was made for co-op, so yes, they should have added co-op. So
wow, that's
Cole,
a surprise.
You said you're getting it, right?
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to pull the trigger and get it last night, and then I saw a review today that kind of changed my mind, but I just couldn't help it. Every time I watch the gameplay, it just looks like that type of game that I like to play. So if it gets a bad review, I don't know. I'll still try it out.
Yeah, all day. What would you say? You say it's a mixture between Crackdown and what else?
I say Overwatch, Crackdown.
Overwatch.
Yeah, just because of the art style and the different characters and their classes and their special abilities and things like that. So
I agree.
Yeah, there are heroes, aren't there?
Yeah, and they also did some UI. Like, there's a really prominent visual cues with like the way that the UI is designed that looks very Overwatch. They did that on purpose, and the way that Overwatch is really clean and pops really well it was a good idea.
Fuzzy Belbador, shout out to him. He's always supporting every fucking thing we do. He says he's gonna wait for a sale. He's gonna wait for a sale, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, I think Black Friday, things like that. This would be a good game to pick up just for add to your collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you said, it's kind of like a mixture between Saints Row, Crackdown, fucking G.I. Joe, Overwatch. Apparently, if you can't wait for Crackdown, maybe pick it up. I don't know. It's pretty similar.
Yeah, the production values are really good in the game. I mean, it's the same guys who brought you Saints Row. I don't understand why there isn't any co-op. I know some people don't care, but majority of us do care. You know what I mean? We want to see that co-op in a squad-based shooter like this.
Yeah, and if you don't
brag about Crackdown's co-op, right? Colt, what were you saying?
Right, yeah. I was just going to say this game would be really cool if it had a competitive mode. If for people that don't know much about it, you pick 3 heroes and you switch between them on the fly with the push of a button. And I thought it would be cool if you could have competitive multiplayer where if you're in mid-switch, you take extra damage or something if you try to switch characters. Like, there's something cool, but it's something that's not built into the game. It's basically a single-player experience, so...
Shout out to Def Jam Bam. I'm sorry you can't hear what we're saying. We wish you could do some sign language for you, brother. But we just no. Bam's awesome. He's always helping support the podcast as well. And of course, like I said, we're starting with some lighter topics before we get into the nice juicy stuff. We've got Record Definitive Edition. The cases have leaked. 4K HDR support on the X. I know everybody's not a big fan of Record, but. Anybody gonna maybe try it out when it gets released on the X? I know a lot of people avoided it on the base console.
You know how I feel about Record, bro. that box art makes me. I might just have it just to have it, just because the artwork on it looks great. So
I don't understand why there's a definitive edition already. How old is the game? A year?
6 months old. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
It's about a year. By the time it comes out, it'll be a year.
I've been playing it a little bit because it came free with my S that I bought, and it's not like Dealer's funny because I said, "Hey, this game ain't half bad." He goes, "It ain't half good either."
Yeah, it's definitely not my style of game, but of course that's all opinion, right? So
yeah, no, I mean it's got solid mechanics. It's kind of fun. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I just thought that was funny. Definitive edition already, huh? Whatever.
Hey D, did you play this game?
Which game?
Record, fuckface.
Record, bro.
I also tell you, Record. I didn't do it for me. Not gonna lie. I did play it, but I lost interest in it. This wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Being honest.
Well, I mean, we don't want you to lie. It is the Real Deal Xbox podcast, after all, right? Speaking of Record, it's built on the Unity engine, pretty popular engine, especially for smaller, lower-budget teams. Unity is getting support for the Xbox One X, 4K HDR, all that stuff. They basically they patched the engine to bring all of that and make creating on Unity engine even easier. The new avatars, for instance, that are coming to Xbox this year, all powered by the Unity game engine, which is interesting. D, thoughts on this?
You know what? Those avatars look dope. I can't wait to spiff mines up. The old avatars, they look kind of dated, to be honest. So I'm excited for the new avatars, that's for sure. And the game being in 4K, I actually probably will try it. I think the reason why I didn't get it because it wasn't a Play Anywhere title. I think in the beginning it wasn't, or something like that.
Recore? I don't remember.
I think it's always been Play Anywhere, but
it's always been Play Anywhere.
It's always been really. Then you know what? Maybe I might grab it because I didn't like it. The reason why I didn't get it for Xbox One, to be honest with you, because it had a lot of aliasing, and I can't take aliasing. I just can't do it. But since it's a Play Anywhere title, I guess I might pick it up, seeing how it's going to have a 4K upgrade for our Xbox One X. Is it on sale now?
Not right now, but it was $40 new. So
yeah, the article that explained the definitive edition said it's a $20 game right now, so it must be on sale. But look into that for sure.
Yeah, $20. Yeah, why not?
Well, shout out to over 200 people already watching, guys. We appreciate it. Hit that like button if you don't mind. All day, we want to do this thing for you guys every single week, talking about the new releases as we get into the bigger topics, games that are coming out, and maybe inform some people, talk some more games all day. What's coming out either here recently or today, actually, that you've got for us?
We got a lot of games that came out today, man. We got Sonic Mania, which is
yeah.
a love letter to you, to you 2D fans, Sonic fans. It's retailing at $19.99. So if you guys are Sonic fans, go ahead and grab that.
Well, how are the reviews on that?
It's doing good, man. Honestly,
It's doing really good.
Yeah,
So for people that don't know,
I've
that's
always
kind of
liked
like a mix between the old classic Sonics. They brought in some indie devs or some smaller devs to add stuff to those stages as well as bosses. It's kind of like a mix between old and new with new achievements. It's all scaled up to fit your TV properly. I don't know. It looks interesting.
new animations, I think, as well too. So
Yeah, new attacks, I think, as well. I'm not sure about that though. Don't quote me.
I'll pick that
yeah,
one up, actually.
we got today, the 15th of August, Agents of Mayhem. I don't know.
Just covered that.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, hey, it came out today. So if you want it, get it. Observer comes out today too. It's a cyberpunk horror game. Sounds kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys heard anything about this game.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that much. Can you give me a little rundown of it?
I'm really not too sure. It's like a detective-based, narrative-driven game. It's got some horror elements to it. I don't know. I might look more into it later on.
Is it on Xbox and PS4 and PC? It's on PC.
Yes, I do believe so. Yeah.
So I don't know much about it. I watched a preview on it, and it's in first person. You're in like a space station or in the future, and it looks really, really cool. It's kind of got like this Blade Runner vibe going on. You know how much it is?
It's $29.99.
Yeah, like they showed flying, like cop cars flying up over the city, like just like Blade Runner, and the visual style looks really, really cool.
Is this the game that's done like in pixels?
No. I thought you might think that. That's that 2D side scroller they showed at E3 for Xbox. No, this is like a first-person kind of like it's got photorealistic graphics, sort of. There's like cybernetic people in it. I don't know much about it. It just really piqued my interest. I didn't know it was coming out already.
What's the name of it?
Observer.
Observer, yeah.
I'll look into that one.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info.
Looks interesting.
Yeah,
James Cunham says Sonic is really good. Actually, he's got it, and we got to give a shout out to Xbot as well. He's not dishwasher bot this week, so that's good. Speaking of the studio that did Observer, I'm pretty sure that is Bluebird Studios. Actually, I could be wrong there, but that studio has recently talked about Xbox One X's CPU, saying that for their game, 60 frames per second, no, it's not even close to a bottleneck. There's kind of some confusion out there about how customized this Jaguar is, etc. So it's good to at least see one studio talking about the CPU so far. We just don't have much on it so far. We can't make any crazy claims as to how much better it is or worse than the base Xbox One. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting because it's the same studio. But yeah, Xbox One X support looking good. We've got over 100 titles already, according to mspower.com. Coming to the Xbox One X, and it's 3 months and something away. That's pretty impressive, Luca. I know you have a PlayStation, and you play both. What do you think about this? 100 games already confirmed to be getting support on the X 3 months before launch.
Hey man, that's just great for gamers, and it will convince people to go back and play those older games they probably didn't get a chance to play yet. So that's great. Like, that's really great. I love that the X is getting so much support. It's really good, and it's a good sign for how the console is going to do in the long run as well. I'm sure the lists will only grow.
Yeah, I know, D. I know you're into this shit too, bro. What do you think about this? 100 games already.
Yeah, that's good. I just want there to be other options. Like I said, I want some 60 frames per second mode, so hopefully they can squeeze some dual modes in some of these games. But the fact that 100 are confirmed for 4K already is fantastic, and the hardware supports that. Like, it should be able to do 4K.
Yeah, shout out to Jay Fonzarelli in the chat. Of course, RDX member. He's with his family today, so he'll be back as soon as he can. It could be as early as next week. Like I said, shout out to Jay as we talk about Lawbreakers flopping. There's nothing that can really describe how hard this game flopped. Did very badly.
How dare you say it flopped, dealer? How dare you say that?
Oh man, yeah, it flopped hard. And that's not a diss on the game. That's just facts, you know.
Yeah, it did, and it's its own fault. Like it flopped so hard, not even Viagra can save it, man. Like, and you know what? I'll give Cliffy this. He kind of owned up to some of his mistakes. I saw in some recent interviews that he did that he said, you know, he's got kind of a polarizing personality, and that perhaps his personality might have hurt this game a little bit with some of the things that he said, which I pointed out on many shows. You know, his tweets were unexcusable how he was talking to fans, and he's also come on in another interview today. He was saying that it was now he's saying it was more of a business decision to put it on PS4, where before he was saying, you know, it's because we didn't have enough time, and you know it backfired him. You know what? When you're a douche, and I don't care what side you're riding on, when you're a douche, gamers see that real quickly. They see through it, and they're not going to support your stuff. They're not, and it's kind of a little bit too late too with Overwatch. Overwatch kind of took his lane that he was trying to be in. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't understand why he thought that his behavior was excusable and that it wouldn't. Listen, if this game ever comes to Xbox, which it probably won't since it's not doing so well, people aren't going to pick it up there either. I mean, we don't forget this kind of stuff, you know?
You definitely don't insult people that supported you. Like, you know, I said that maybe I thought it would do pretty decently if it came to Xbox, even though it's a smaller install base. This is still where Cliffy called home for so long, and he's got Gears of War fans that would have undoubtedly checked it out because they were fans of his work, right?
Yeah.
And to insult some of those people is unexcusable. Kelvin Brenneman says law floppers, so that's kind of that's a pretty good name for that game, I guess.
No, it's getting praise for solid mechanics, but for me personally, I feel like the arena shooter thing came just a couple months too late. Everybody's probably played the crap out of Overwatch enough. There's other games that are getting kind of hot right now, other genres that maybe he could have developed for, but you start games a couple years ago and it's hard to, get on a trend. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, the game's also been being shown off for 2 years. Let's not forget that.
Oh,
yeah.
I could say this though. If he wasn't so inflammatory with his comments and he put this on Xbox, I'm pretty sure the Xbox fans, they would have supported it better than the PlayStation fan base for sure.
Yeah,
because,
I agree.
Just coming off of
remember that,
just coming off of Gears of War and Bulletstorm and all those games, and to have Lawbreakers come in and just look so generic, it just blows my mind. Like you didn't even try. Like you just picked an apple and ate it. You didn't even try to like do anything. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really
Justin Higgins, that's a fucked up comment, bro.
Yeah,
he's not a douche. He needs a douche. I don't know, man. It's not very forward thinking to insult people that you're going to be asking to buy your game eventually. So
yeah, I agree with that. Also, Hellblade. Sorry, bro, but Hellblade probably heard it as well, since the PlayStation group is a bit more single player focused. Than the Xbox.
Did they come out the same day?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Luca. Because PlayStation has the big single player games this past couple years, but it's undisputed that Xbox is the place to play competitive first person shooters. And you can get them on PlayStation 4. All the Call of Duties are there and the Battlefield and everything, but Xbox is probably the best place. I would love to see a metric somewhere that shows maybe how well people do in first person shooters. We talk about crossplay, like what would happen if you put a lobby full of PS4 gamers against Xbox gamers and like a Call of Duty game. I wonder what the numbers would end up being.
That's why I want to see crossplay. Maybe have a little Sony logo or a controller next to the Sony guys on the leaderboard and an Xbox controller next to their name. I think it would inspire competition. I think people would become more active in their communities, if anything, but that's not happening. But yeah, you guys are right. Hellblade doing great, getting good reviews. It is a third-party game, so I'm sure we'll eventually see it make its way over to Xbox. But for now, yes, PlayStation exclusive. That's the only place you can play it. Lawbreakers, just to get back on subject, did flop. There's a big-ass crater in the ground now, and it did 4 times worse than Battleborn. Battleborn's numbers were 4 times higher at the same point in its life cycle. And Battleborn is the poster child for flippity-flopped games.
So I remember I seen the collector's edition of Battleborn inside Walmart for $9.99.
Wow.
So that
I'm
just
surprised
tells
they
you.
didn't pay you to take that bitch. Honestly.
Hey,
Do you guys think? Go ahead, D.
I just want to point out here because PlayStation fans say this all the time. Oh, we have no exclusives cuts on PC. I just want to say Hellblade is also on PC. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Lawbreakers will kind of pick up some steam and
No.
get bigger, or do you think it'll
No.
kind of?
You said no.
If it's
Oh, man,
starting off cold like this, it's not gonna heat up. It's
Yeah,
dead.
bro, it's dead.
What do you think, chat? Put a 1 if you think Lawbreakers is going to get a second win. 2, of course, if you think it's a big old deep fried piece of dog shit. Let's move on.
It's a floppy fish.
I don't know. I haven't played it, but something I do know is that if a game's hitching that bad on day one, then I wouldn't have bought it either. So we can't discount that as well. That was an issue. The game was hitching so bad it was freezing for the better part of a second. So
It's still
either
hitching.
way, seems like a lot of deep fried dog shit in the comments there. So yeah,
And I thought
I
Evolve
doubt-
had problems. Fuck.
yeah. Evolve did have problems.
I gotta say, this chat on this RDX podcast is just really good. You guys are awesome. Thank you for keeping us entertained while we talk this stuff.
Kale Hill says it'll end up like For Honor. And For Honor at one point lost 95% of its user base. That is
Jesus.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
For problems, yeah.
Yep. I wanted to get onto this one. You can now enter the preview program by registering. You don't need to ask somebody for an invite anymore. Who wants to join the preview program?
I tell you right
Nah.
now, my Xbox
I'm
had
in it.
AIDS last night, so I don't know. I don't really recommend it, dude. I really don't.
Yeah, you know, I'm in it, and for the most part, it's been okay. But there's some times where there's like some game or system breaking issues, you know. But
Yeah.
you do get some new features before everybody else. So if you're a hardcore guy and you want to try stuff out way before the people, then yeah. But don't expect it to be a problem-free experience. No.
If
Yeah,
you have two
I have to
Xboxes,
say-
I think you should.
Yeah,
I mean,
I-
go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have to
Yeah.
say, like, I don't have any interest in being in a preview program. When I come home from an 8-hour day at work and then I have to spend another hour and a half in sitting in traffic in my car, I want to know that when I turn on my system, it's going to work and I don't have to deal with any bugs or errors or any of that. I mean, good on the people who opt into the program to help out, but it's not for me. I have enough patience to wait for those features.
Orbital, you fuck. He gets to play the Xbox One X at Gamescom, and he's bragging about it in the comments. I'm telling you.
Speaking of the Xbox One X, if you go into the Microsoft Store, they have it on display. You can actually see it in person now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Wow,
I went and saw it this week. It's so small and sleek. It's like it's small. It's definitely smaller than the Xbox One S, and it's noticeably smaller. I couldn't believe how small it was, to be honest with you. It's pretty small.
I think it's just a few millimeters here and there, bro. Like,
Wait. If somebody jumps in,
Yeah, but-
the podcast
Were
right
you
now,
like? Did you walk in on some stilts? Maybe that's why it looks so small.
No, it could be a few millimeters on each side, whatever. But just the aesthetics of it, and maybe the fact that it's black, it just looks smaller.
Yep.
wait, are we talking about the Xbox One X or your?
The X, the
Oh.
Xbox One X. Oh my God! Damn.
It looks it's lacking a couple millimeters.
Colt is getting PG-13 on us. Oh man.
Colt had his pause moment.
So yeah, if you want to join the preview program, you can go register on their site. I personally dropped out like a miscarriage.
Oh, jeez.
It's just, there's too many problems. It is a beta. Don't forget that, people. Anytime I hear somebody having an issue, my game won't load, the parties are fucking up, this won't load, the box crashed. I asked them if they're in the preview program, and 90% of the time they are, and that's why. So I dropped out because it wouldn't even read my discs back when I was physical. Now I'm all digital. So I don't know. It's just not worth it. It's a beta. So only join it if you really want to test and submit feedback. It's not worth it otherwise, in my opinion, of course.
And it's even worse on PC. I was in the insider program on PC. Oh my gosh, that was the worst ever. And then when you wanted to opt out of it, you couldn't just opt out of it. You had to wait until like a retail release came about. You were just stuck in that same beta that you had. You couldn't get out of it unless you just deleted everything on your computer. So yeah, I don't really recommend it for everybody.
Oh man! As we get up to nearly 300 people watching, hit that like button, guys. Colt, he's got some RDX live show questions for us. Go ahead and throw us the first one there, bro.
Our first one comes from Psycho Killer 290X.
We got a juggalo in the house.
He says, do you think the Xbox One X will be in short supply at release and potentially further hurt overall sales of the Xbox brand as a whole?
No.
Interesting. What do you guys think?
No, I don't. Microsoft, for all their launches, at least the last 2 launches, they've been prepared and they've had enough consoles on hand. And especially the fact that, you know, they're trying to get market share. I don't think they'd be so stupid not to have enough consoles ready.
That's a good point. When I picked up the Xbox One early in 2014, it was you could find them in the store. There was always just like one. That's when I was shopping. That's basically what was happening. But I think the PS4 was out every once in a while. You guys remember correctly?
Yeah, PS4 was a little bit different, but it was kind of like a fake demand kind of thing too. They were stirring up as well, right?
Yeah, and I also remember early on the Xbox One there's like a stack of them at one store. I was like, oh geez, are people buying these? But they were going.
Yeah. Once again, Phil Spencer confirmed that the X1 is the best-selling Xbox of all time at 4 years. So who knows? With the X, it is substantially more expensive than the S, double the price, in fact. So that will not overtake the S, which is now the new base model. I don't even think they manufacture the fat one anymore. They definitely don't. So that's a good question. I don't think there'll be a shortage, but you know, I've been wrong before. We'll be wrong again. We'll see. And Cole, go ahead and throw us one more, bro.
Okay. I was going to say the S will continue to sell, yeah, no matter what. Let's see. Number 2, this one comes from Hamwich452. Hamwich. Hamwich, there you go. Hamwich would have been a great name if you can change that, if you want to pay $10 on Xbox Live. Do you think the Xbox will announce anything new this Sunday, which is the start of right before Gamescom? Do you think Xbox will announce anything new?
No, I do not. What they need to do is show me that Crackdown multiplayer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what I want. That'll make up the whole show right there. Boom, done.
All day, you going to play that game with me online?
If the multiplayer is what they say it is, most definitely.
If you can shoot down a whole entire building with a 9mm pistol, are you playing that game co-op?
Yes. I'm going to shoot your kneecaps first, and I'll shoot the building.
I agree with all day. I don't think they're going to bring anything new. I think they have plenty of stuff they need to just show us.
I want to take a vote because, you know, I know Microsoft just said wait till Gamescom for the Crackdown destruction multiplayer stuff, and then Sumo Digital doubled down on that at a panel at Comic-Con. We got some information on that at Gamescom. But there is kind of an underlying thing out there where people don't think that the destruction's going to show up at Gamescom. So I want to know in the chat, 1, if you think destruction is going to be there and it's going to be what it was advertised to be, or 2, if you think something might be wrong. I'm a wait and see kind of guy these days, so I think it's on schedule until I see that it's not on schedule, you know. But nonetheless, it looks fucking phenomenal in terms of bringing new stuff to Gamescom. There was a rumor that they have 2 new IP. I reported on that a while back. Who knows? You know, that's the thing about rumors. So
I would think they would bring at least track record, you know, based on Microsoft's track record at this event. I would think they at least announce 1 new game that we don't know about.
Yeah, it looks like we got a couple of people think there might be something wrong, but mostly it's ones. You know, like I said, I don't blame you. If they say Gamescom hasn't passed yet, so I'm not going to freak the fuck out yet. Sony not doing Gamescom. They're doing Paris Games Week, and they also confirmed they're doing another PSX, and we will get into the FP16 PS4 stuff. We're just, you know, like I said, those are kind of bigger topics. We want to get into those in depth, so we're going to save them for a little bit. But Paris Games Week, you know, I feel like PSX ruined their E3 this year. If they would have shown The Last of Us at E3, it would have been a lot better, but they showed it at PSX, right? I mean, I feel like they don't need these events. I feel like they could cram this into E3 because their last E3 really wasn't that cram full.
Yeah, I agree, dude. It was pretty bad. Like their E3 is pretty bad. I didn't think about that their PSX might have ruined it, but you do have a point there. Yeah, I never considered that.
Could you imagine if they would have just held Last of Us until then and showed it there? Like, it would have been a complete different conference, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
With that.
E3 is definitely the bigger stage. You know what I mean? So,
however, this year I think PSX is a little bit more important for Sony because we are getting the new Xbox One X, and they're gonna want to keep some gamers away, well, as many gamers as they can away from that system, obviously. So I think they might be a little bit aggressive at PSX.
Colt,
They have to do something. I went back and watched my predictions video for E3, and I named all this stuff I was pretty sure Sony was going to bring, and they didn't bring any of it. I thought they were going to show all kinds of games. I thought that God of War and Days Gone were going to be a surprise and ready for the end of the year. So yeah, they've got to bring some stuff.
So you gave them the benefit of the doubt, and in the comment section of that video, where you gave them the benefit of the doubt in every single way, and your predictions were way better than the actual reality of their E3, people were still giving you shit because you didn't give them enough benefit of the doubt.
I think so. Yeah, I think I learned some lessons from Dealer that no matter how fair you try to be, you're still a fanboy retard. So
yeah, it's just one of those things. So I don't know. Once again, I wish they wouldn't do PSX. I think they didn't have enough content this year's E3. And oddly enough, even though they bought up all the marketing deals, and this is something I've been asked about several times, buying up all the marketing deals with COD, Destiny, Red Dead, Far Cry, all that stuff, Battlefront 2, they only showed COD for just a split second, it seemed like, Destiny for a split second. And I'm not sure they showed anything else they had a marketing deal with. And it's like, why did you do that and not show something cool on your stage, right?
Yeah, because if you remember last generation with the 360, that'll be the first thing they would have shown was Call of Duty, right when they opened up the show.
Or debut zombies there or something. You could have worked something out. So I know they bought up those marketing rights to suppress what's coming on the Xbox One X. That makes sense to me. I feel like it's common sense. You don't want someone else showing off your game on a superior platform. So it'll be interesting to see how those turn out. PSX, of course, like I said, happening. They're doing Paris Games Week. Not sure what's happening there. But, of course, every event that comes along, PS5 is a rumor. They're going to show it. They're going to show it. Even though power doesn't matter anymore, people keep bringing up this rumor of PS5 showing up at one of these events, which is just ridiculous, right? I mean, please, someone else has to be mind-fucked by this.
I don't know. I kept saying that why not just say something like, hey, PS5 is coming. That's all they need to do is a black screen and a little title that just kind of zooms in and says PS5 is coming.
Why not? Because then people would stop buying PS4s and PS4 Pros.
I don't think so. I think PS4 is a great console. It's selling like crazy. People love it. It can continue to thrive as long as Sony says that we're going to support, with the x86 architecture, we're going to keep supporting PS4 games on the PS5 and vice versa. Yeah, I don't know. I think they can.
I think it would happen because even when the Pro was announced, people stopped buying PS4s for a while. And that's kind of what's happening now with the base Xbox One S. Of course, sales are going to slump when you've got something that's almost 5 times the power. 5 Xbox One S's stacked on top of each other in power for a couple $100 more. You know, why put half of that money into an S when you could get 5 times the performance for just double the money, right? So I think with the Pro, we saw that dip in sales for the base PS4. And I think that's exactly what would happen until PS5 came out. The longer off PS5 is when they say it's coming, the worse it is because sales are just going to slump every month after they say that, right? But that's just me. D, what do you think about this PS5 shit, man?
I don't know.
Over there knitting, man? What are you doing?
Sony, they have some underhanded tactics, and I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that. And I kind of agree with Colt here. I don't think anything is going to slow the PS4 down right now, apart from Sony coming out and saying that they're Nazis. Like in all honesty, I don't see anything slowing them down right now. So I don't think it would hurt them if they said it's coming out like in a year or 2 years from now. I think their mindset in that would be that, okay, it's going to hold off from some people changing ecosystems and getting an Xbox One X. So I don't know.
So you don't think it would slow them down when the Pro slowed them down?
Well, hold on, Dealer. Think about
the Pro slowed them down because people were expecting quite a boost, quite a bump. Now that there's no bump to be had, it's just basically a resolution boost.
I mean, there's a bump. They're misusing the power, trying to cram it into.
So right now, the fan base said, screw it, I'm okay with a PS4, or I can get a PS4, it's cheaper. So that's their mindset on that, and it's selling again.
And think about when Phil Spencer started saying, talking about this new console coming, this new upgrade, some type of upgrade for Xbox One, and then we started to hear this whisper about the Xbox Scorpio. We got excited, and I went and bought an Xbox One S like a month ago. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
you knew. I had heard you say personally that you knew you weren't going to get the S before that, though, because the X was coming out, right?
Yeah,
And
Oh,
I had
yeah.
said the same thing, but I ended up caving because the Gears 4 box with a 2 terabyte. I said, "Fuck it, why not?" So I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
see
just
that
don't see it happening anytime soon.
your cave-in was really funny though, dealer. Because I remember saying, "Okay, I'm gonna wait to get a 4K TV and an Xbox
Mhm.
One X," and boom, you got that 4K TV. Then it was all over.
Yep, and that's an example of X1S driving the market because I got this thing. I was like, man, I want to see a 4K Blu-ray. Cha-ching! And then I went and did that. And then I went and got some 4K Blu-rays, and one thing leads to another, and that's what I'm saying. My thing was though, and what I told people back then is, I got a base Xbox One. I've got no reason to get an X right now because I didn't have a 4K TV. And that 4K TV is the only thing that it took to push me over the edge. Meanwhile, if you've got a base Xbox One now, of course, do not go get an S because you get everything and more in the X for, 250 more bucks, less by the time you trade in your Xbox One. So I don't know. It is what it is. Get what you want. Do what you like. But I think it's just smarter to hold off. Call of Duty World War II devs talking about their game this week, saying they've gotten the most out of pretty much every platform. This is good to hear because you're getting high bandwidth textures and stuff on the X. Apparently, people are rolling this and spinning this, saying they've maxed out Xbox One X already. I would assume that they have because that power is pretty much there up front from day one. Devs are getting 4K 60, 4K 30 in a matter of hours, meaning you don't really have to kind of rinse the juice out of this hardware. It's all kind of there up front. This is what they've got going on with Call of Duty World War II. I know we've got a lot of Call of Duty fans in the chat. I know it's fallen off here recently, but this looks like it might be a resurgence because they've actually tried on this one, people. And bear with me. They've got a new destruction system, which is good to hear. They've got a new lighting system. They've got a new audio system. They needed some audio improvements. You don't want to sound like you're firing off a pellet gun from now on. New facial capture system. This looks like it might be the real deal, and it is by far the best looking COD. Thoughts on this?
Well,
Any
I remember.
dogs
I remember when
announced?
Try that again.
Just checking.
I remember when I first saw it. I remember I was on a podcast with Crap, and I was saying to Crap, I think it's using a new engine because it looked completely new. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first year that it's not on old gen, like it's not on 360 or anything?
I don't think Infinite Warfare was it?
I don't know.
Or was it
Advanced
last
Warfare? Maybe someone in the chat can tell us what was the first COD that wasn't on the 360 and PS3 as well. Because I'm not a COD fanatic. This will be the first Call of Duty I'm buying for
what was the COD before Infinite Warfare?
Ghosts, I think.
Ghost?
No. Oh, you mean from that studio?
No,
Oh.
in general.
No, just in general. In general.
Oh, no, I was-
wasn't
Black
it
Ops
Advanced
3.
Warfare on
Yes.
360
Black
and
Ops 3,
PS3?
yeah.
Black Ops 3.
So Infinite
Black Ops 3,
Warfare, people
okay.
are saying Infinite Warfare was on 360 or it wasn't on
No.
360?
Infinite Warfare was not on 360 or PS3.
Okay.
The last
Okay.
one they had was Black Ops 3, I think.
Okay, so maybe last year was more of a transition year for them. They were probably using some old assets. Now that the fact that they're not on old gen, they can concentrate on all the new hardware, and that's probably why they're achieving what they're achieving. And I also think Battlefield is a big motivator for them too, because Battlefield just looked tremendous last year. It destroyed them graphically, like there was no comparison. And they're developers, they got egos, so I'm sure that probably made them want to make a better looking game.
Yeah, and developers are bigger fans of gaming than 98% of us. They chose to do this with their lives. So when people would tell me back in the day that they would never support the X because PS4 Pro is the leading platform and all this trash, I'm like, you guys don't understand. These people get paid to do this stuff, and they love what they do for the most part. They're going to support the X, and that's evident by the over 100 games that are already confirmed for the X at launch, I think. So that's good news. COD, is it all new? Is it all old? We don't even know what engine it's using. It could just be rebuilt, a version of that engine, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
The
will the definitive version of COD be on the Xbox One X this year? Do you think?
Oh,
I
of
think
course. If they apply themselves, yeah. I mean, the
Okay.
RAM alone means things that can't be done because there just isn't enough RAM on the Pro. So both versions will look great, though.
Yeah, same.
There's no reason to think that Xbox One X won't have the definitive versions of all the multi-plats. It's just too much hardware there for it not to.
Yeah, it's impossible for devs that apply themselves. And shout out to getting close to 400 people watching. Hit that like button, finger bang the shit out of that thing if you would. we need to talk about PS4 Pro's FP16 compute. This is going to be some hardware talk here.
All right, I'm gonna step back. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead, take a nap. So you got guys saying now that PS4 Pro is 8.4 teraflops. We went through this once, we extinguished that, and now we're having to go through it again because of recent events with Vega, the rapid packed math feature for Vega. Of course, PS4 Pro and Xbox One X both feature Vega architecture in their Polaris GPUs. I linked that in my last video. If you don't believe me, go check out my last video. It's in the link down below, easily legible in the source box. Both consoles have Vega features in their GPUs, but PS4 Pro has FP16, which allows them to do half float operations, whereas the X1X doesn't. Now, D, this is one of the reasons I want to have you on this week as well, because we can talk tech all day. FP16 cannot be used in all scenarios. Give us the details, your opinions on this first.
Okay, so the short answer, is it going to improve the PS4 Pro? Yes. It's not going to improve it in all areas because FP16 calculations, they're not as precise. So you're not going to get an as accurate image. The information is less, so it can't be used everywhere. So it can be used, like, say, like on some foliage. You might be able to help with like draw distance. All in all, when they use it, they might get about 5, if they're lucky, 8 frames per second more. And it's dependent on the title, and it's not something that's going to bridge the gap, because at the end of the day, it's still a 4 teraflop computer. And in some instances, yes, it can compute a little bit more than that 4 teraflops suggests, but it's only on small little things. So it's only going to help a little bit. And also, too, the reason why they can't use it everywhere is because you lose the accuracy of the image. So it's just not going to look as good. Like you might get some banding on some textures and whatnot. Like they could use it, like, say, I think on Mass Effect, they used it for HDR. So
Yep.
they use some of the compression in the HDR
and that's
there.
literally, to do HDR, it's literally a few frames. Like that's what I said in my last video. It's literally 3 or 4 frames, 5 frames on average, probably, and that's if they implement it smartly. Now, straight from AMD, when they're talking about their Vega Tech and Rapid Pack Math, they say you can use it with 16-bit operations through this Rapid Pack Math technology when 32-bit operations are not necessary. So it's definitely a smaller feature designed to make things a little more efficient. Every single leap in graphics technology, so from Polaris to Fiji or whatever to Vega, each of them have different features that make them slightly more efficient than the last, and this is one of them. So, for instance, Mantis Burn Racing on the PS4 Pro utilized this half float operations, right? Technically, by a lot of people's logic in the comments, the PS4 Pro was running at 8.4 teraflops when they were doing that. Now, that's a top-down arcade racer. In that game, used pre-baked lighting, didn't even use all the top features, and that's evident from the Digital Foundry video where they confirm it's pre-baked lighting and everything, which is kind of a shortcut from last generation. If this thing were really taking advantage of this and getting all this extra juice like people say that it would, they wouldn't need to do that. And that's a top-down Micro Machines looking racer. So it's definitely not the end-all be-all. It just, you know, this isn't trolling. This is just facts. It will not put a dent in the performance delta between the X1X and the PS4 Pro. And even if it did, in a world where there's a giant crack rock inside the PS4 Pro and it summons magical powers to make the games look perfect in every way, you still only got 5.5 gigabytes for RAM. 6 counting the extra 500 megs of flexible memory that can be sent from OS to game depending on what's needed. You just don't have the RAM that X1X does, meaning you'll never have the best high-resolution textures on those AAA games, as well as several other features that RAM enables. It's just not happening. So even if you were at a deadlock with X1X in terms of GPU power, which you're not, there's about 30 frames per second difference there pretty easily, you're not even close in RAM, which the X1X has 9 gigabytes for games alone. So those are just the facts. Yeah. We're going to have to wait until Wolfenstein 2 comes out this fall. That's the first game coming out that uses FP16 in terms of the AAA style on the Pro, I do believe, unless Andromeda used it for HDR on the Pro as well. But you're not going to see any kind of night and day boost. And if you're one of those guys giving people shit for saying DX12 would help, which at least we have developers really saying that, hey, that did do a couple things with 2 or 3 frames here and there. You know, if you're one of those guys giving DX12 guys shit over it, you should probably smack yourself in the face, because you're doing the same thing with FP16.
Yeah, and according to AMD, and obviously, you know, it's their architecture, they're saying that on Vega, and this is Vega, like a complete Vega that has a lot more compute, that the max you're going to get with this is up to 15% in certain areas. And that's on Vega that has a lot more compute. So when you bring it down to the PS4 Pro's level, which is like 4 teraflops, and minimum Vega is like 12 teraflops, you know, there's a big gap there. So if I had to put it in a number, a hard number, I would say maybe a 7% increase on certain aspects of the game. And that is not going to bridge the gap between Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. So you guys out there that think it'll bridge the gap, it won't. Maybe it might give you a little bit higher frame rate.
7% in regards to
you might get a little bit better
game.
draw distance, but that's about it. And that's right. It's only in certain parts of the game, because they can't implement it everywhere. So it's not across the board.
7% doesn't make up for 42% GPU advantage of the X. Dealer, let me ask you something. Can you give us your educated guess of what you think Wolfenstein 2 will run on the Pro and the Xbox in terms of resolution and frame rate?
And
just, you know, give us a caveat so nobody comes in here and tries to smack you.
They can try. Yeah, like you said, 7% in certain aspects. So maybe foliage boosted efficiency by 7%. Things like that. Not 7% overall boosted to the frame rate. Overall, just 7% efficiency boost to areas where half floats would be used. So it's one of those things where there's a reason why we're at 64-bit operations in games now. This is 16-bit operations that we're talking about here. So it's minimal use. And 7% boost perhaps on certain aspects of where it is used. So yeah, a couple frames here and there. You know, pro games don't look horrible now. Let's not say they do. Developers just need to put that performance where it's needed besides 1800p. You know, aside from the RAM, they can't do much about that. But in terms of Wolfenstein, Bethesda do not like to checkerboard. Maybe that's changed, but as of right now, they haven't checkerboarded anything. Skyrim is native 4K. Fallout 4 is a native 1440p image. So I'm going to predict Wolfenstein 2 is going to be 1440p on the Pro, which is a great-looking resolution. That's not a bad thing. But it will be restricted to the same textures and other settings as the Pro. And shout out to over 400 people watching live. Hit that like button, show your support. Tweet this bitch out on Twitter. Let us know what you think as well. But yeah. FP16, Wolfenstein 2 will be using this, as well as Far Cry 5. It'll be very interesting to see those comparisons.
What about Xbox?
Xbox has just got a lot more GPU power and a bunch more RAM. So ultimately, these little shortcuts and enhancements and efficiencies like floating points and all that stuff, you know, it's going to help here and there, but you can't replace good old brute force power, and that's what the X has over the Pro. So
also, they use a very low-level API. I'm not sure if they're using Vulkan on this game.
No clue. No clue. That'd be great, though. That'd be great, though.
No, but the fact that they are using a low-level API in that, the Xbox One X is going to take advantage of that, because PS4's API, it's a lot different, and they're not able to use DX12. They're not able to use Vulkan. They use their own thing. So I would think that game would be a lot more optimized on the Xbox One X, just for the simple nature that it could be a straight port from the PC.
Yeah, and we can't discount the fact that X1X has an integrated DX12 command processor in the GPU, which would give you at least the same boost as some kind of FP16 performance minimum. So they're saying 50% boost on DX12 games, reducing thousands of instructions to just as little as 11 on Xbox One X, freeing up a lot of that CPU overhead. So that's one of the things. It's 4 months out, almost 3 months something. We just don't know enough, and until we do, we're just going to have to leave it there. Mantis Burn Racing does use it on the Pro, and obviously you've not had your mind blown there, have you? So a good way to tell, well, it's already maxed out at 4K, Mantis Burn Racing. They couldn't do much else. Well, then they wouldn't have to reduce split-screen resolution to 1080p if that were the case. If there were that much more performance left, it makes perfect sense as to why they've done that. So let's go to the Xbox Gamescom little booth trailer that leaked, right? And we've got opinions on this, but yeah, there's a video online. We think it's some kind of render. We don't know if it's from somebody from Microsoft or a fan, but people are talking about this. Shows all the most recent games, but it also shows older games like Fable Legends, but people are asking me about this. It looks like a render to me, Colt. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to look at it right now while we're talking. It's only a minute long. Yeah, it does, because the people are holding still. I'm going to watch it right now. You see Sea of Thieves,
like a scissor reel or
Forza
something?
7,
Where is
Age of
this?
Empires, Assassin's Creed Origin. The booth just looks awesome. Halo Wars 2, Gears of War 4 on the screen, as well as Sea of Thieves. Cuphead.
And people might ask, why would you show older games like Halo 5 and Gears of War and all that stuff? Because those games are being
Xbox
patched.
Design Lab and then ID Xbox. Yeah, I'm still listening to you. Sorry.
Hey, All Day, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. What's up?
Okay, you were really low there. So,
Cool.
yeah, they would have those older games there to show them off running on the X potentially. And Phil did say they do have a graphics comparison coming. So that's what I can't wait for. I want to see that Witcher 3, running on the X, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. I was like, what is this game? It's Middle Earth's Shadow of War or Mordor.
So
but
is it like some type of scissor reel or something?
So I checked out the dude who posted it. He said it's a video from Xbox.com Germany about Gamescom this year, and it was sent to him by email. So
Spitfire
yeah. So
Take it with a big ass grain of salt.
yeah, just be
Football
careful.
sized grain of salt.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna see graphical comparisons without a
Yeah.
doubt, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely looks like a render. We're not saying it's legit, but a lot of people have sent this to me. I put it in the group chat, the RDX Twitter group chat, if you guys want to check it out now. Yeah, it definitely looks like a render, and it's odd that Fable Legends was there. Maybe that's a resurgence. They do have those assets, but I really doubt that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't chisel that shit in stone. I don't think it's
pretty amazing for someone to make this 3D model and render it out for a fake. I mean, this would take a little while, take a lot of work.
Well, we'll know because Gamescom is close. So
Yeah, people will do anything for attention. I know. I don't remember what it was exactly, but someone made like a what is it called? Like a 3D model of some system. We're like, oh, this is like, the system coming out. I got this system early, but it was just
the Switch
3D printed. Yeah, so I made a 3D print of the Switch, just for attention. So I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, the music in that trailer was fucking horrible. So it's hard to imagine that Microsoft would use that music. It's Steve Ballmer ain't over there picking the music. Shout out to bald-headed Steve Ballmer. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. But Gamescom coming up, Crackdown multiplayer comparisons. More people get to play the X, like our dude Orbital in the chat there gets to play the X. Man, it's going to be here before we know it, really. Xbox One X pre-order / Gamescom ticker has went live on a website. Basically, some kind of ticker online is counting down the minutes, the days, the hours, everything. We cannot wait for Xbox One X pre-orders. But this ticker has appeared online, and it's something. I guess it's trying to gear up some hype, right?
Yeah, I do believe so. Woo!
Wow.
Hype levels are high.
Oh shit!
D, are you pre-ordering this thing day one or what, man?
Am I what?
You pre-ordering this thing day one or what?
Yeah, I'm definitely pre-ordering it day one. And you know what? I think a lot of people are really underestimating how this console will sell because, I've just been looking at the PC landscape lately, and especially with mining going on, it's very expensive to get a GPU on the PC market right now. And I think a lot of gamers that are on the fence of building a rig or whatnot, or just want a game, they're going to see this as a viable option at $500 being able to play 4K games. So I think it's going to do pretty good. I just need to start with the promotion on this stuff. Start throwing these advertisements out. Let me see these games. Phil, hurry up with the comparisons. We really need to start seeing some Xbox One X material, games, marketing, like as of now, because this console's coming out in 3 months. We need to start it now.
Yeah.
I agree. The Xbox doesn't have as many games as the PS4, but boy, does it offer a lot more than the Pro does in features and bonuses and just all the different things it can do. It's really amazing. People are asking about this. I haven't even looked into it. This audio thing, this Sonic, what is it?
Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos.
The Dolby Atmos, they're talking about. Let me look. It's on the questions. They're asking about. Let me just scroll up. I thought maybe you guys had heard something about this other audio feature that goes along with Dolby Atmos. Got a ton of questions.
It's gonna have FreeSync 2 support.
Yep, they haven't talked about that very much at all either.
And that's going to be a big thing, the FreeSync 2 support, because say games that they lock it at 30 frames per second because of the fluctuating frame rate. With FreeSync, they could put it at like 40, 45 frames per second. And believe it or not, yes, a 45 frames per second game is not a 60 frames per second game, of course. But with FreeSync enabled, it's going to be really smooth, and you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference.
If they do talk about FreeSync, I want them to make it more understandable to the public, to the casual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, TV manufacturers need to start patching their displays anyway for that to work. And people are talking about getting an Xbox One X and a monitor. You need to make sure that the monitor is FreeSync over HDMI, because DVI will not work on Xbox One X. So really just look into this stuff before you go spend any kind of money. As we pass 450 people watching live, hit that like button, guys. We appreciate your support. Woo! On to Tech Radar. I've had some people link me to, they're calling it a review of the Xbox One X, and it's just total bullshit. There are no reviews of the Xbox One X. The thing's not even out for. Yeah, it's out. Somebody built a fucking time machine over at Tech Radar. It's not even out for almost 4 months, and people are talking about this review. What it is it's a hands-on, like at E3, like all day. Technically, he's played Xbox One X at E3. He could go and write an article and say, "I'm reviewing the Xbox One X." No, that's not a review. It's not out. So. Tech Radar, the Xbox One X review that people love or whatever, it's not a review.
So it's more like a first impressions type of thing?
It's just hey, I played the shit and this is what I think. That's all it is.
It was in July, wasn't it, dealer?
Probably.
Yeah.
I just had people ask me about it, so I figured I would just shoot it down. It's not actually a review. So
no, and you can't make a basis on that anyways, because we all know that the final SDK wasn't even delivered then. They had another SDK coming after that was going to enable more power on the system. So
and an additional gigabyte of RAM. Yeah.
Come on.
Remember at E3 they didn't have that extra gig of RAM either. So apparently, and people say, well, what difference does that make? Well, according to Mike Ybarra, developers have asked for this, so that means that it's going to make a difference. 9 gigabytes in total from 8 that the games were running on at E3. So Tech Radar, not a real review, but they did like what they saw, and I'm not surprised. The one thing I have to keep reminding people of is people ask me, should I go get a capture card? Should I do this for YouTube? Just hang on for a little bit. The X captures 4K, up to 4K 60 frames per second gameplay, apparently, and even some HDR recording as well. So, you're going to get very good captures. Now they just need to update the damn YouTube app on the Xbox. That's a problem.
Yes.
I don't know what Google's problem is, but they need to update the app, because I can go watch footage on my PC from YouTube and it looks phenomenal, and then I watch it on the X1S YouTube app and it's something's up. It's the app, not the console. If your cell phone can run it and it'll look that good, the console can obviously do the same. So,
but I do think the app will be different. It's going to have different hardware in there. I'm pretty sure they said earlier that they're going to let us upload HDR to YouTube through Xbox. So I would suppose it's going to be a better app that would actually allow you to watch HDR videos on your Xbox as well. Because right now you need a certain TV to do it, or you got to buy like a Chromecast. So I do think it'll be improved.
Yeah, and I saw Top Fraud in the comments. Guys, hit that like button if you enjoyed Luca's curve.
Top Fraud.
last week, Luca broke her foot off someone's jaw in the comments. So hit that like button if you enjoyed that. It was a good time.
I always think it's so interesting to see these ponies grazing all over Xbox turf, like all day. They're just munching away at the grass over there. In our stadium, we like Xbox, and some of us have PS4s, and some.
Oh, you made someone mad, Colt. You got a dislike.
Hey, Buddha, did you see? Shout out to Buddha in the comments. You see what he said about PUBG?
Say what?
No. Let me scroll up.
Yeah, PUBG. What did he say?
Buddha.
He said PUBG is going to release in 2018, and it's Xbox and PC exclusive.
2018, yeah, we knew that. We just didn't know the preview program or the game preview stuff. You're going to be able to play it on the Xbox this year. They did say you will not get the Xbox One X patch, though, until the game is actually done, like the full version comes out. So,
okay.
That's interesting. I'm not really sure how legitimate all that is, but a lot of people are looking forward to PUBG. They did say that they've already got it running on the Xbox One X. Over 30 frames per second, 30, 40 frames per second already this early on 100-man servers. So that's good news for a lot of people that are looking forward to this game. People said it would run like trash, but apparently it's already running past 30 frames this early on. The game's not even in preview yet on the X1S. So I don't know. Is it a possibility to be 60? I doubt it, but what do you think, D?
On which game?
Oh my God!
Woo!
PUBG,
You got
bro.
to stop
PUBG.
D.
Sorry, man. You know what? I'm not sure on that game if it's going to be 60 frames per second. I'm not confident enough to say anything about that game. These guys, they'd be honest. We say 60 frames per second, it's like 55. Like, oh, you said 60 and it's 55.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sick.
The one thing I know is that it will perform better on that than the PS4 if it were to have it the Pro, and I think it's going to be a big seller because that game is ripping up on PC right now, man.
Have you played it?
No, I haven't played it, but I've watched. It's not really my style of game, to be honest with you. But I have seen people play, and it does seem fun, and the community seems to love it, and it seems to be getting bigger. So I think it'll do well on Xbox.
Yeah, I know you're looking forward to Cuphead as well, right?
I can't freaking wait for Cuphead, man. Cuphead. Like when I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of cartoons. Cuphead to me, it's like a live action cartoon. The animation in that game, I've never seen a game with animation like that. When you guys get to play this game, I'm telling you, it's such a treat.
It's all hand drawn,
and it's punishing. It's hard. It's difficult. It's not an easy game.
And it's $20, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I played it last year, and it was amazing. So I can't imagine what it plays like or looks like now because they've had a year to work on it.
And they went back and put a whole fleshed out campaign, like a full experience on there. So they were going to release it last year, and then they told the devs to go back and just put more content in, right? So that's good.
OG John says Cuphead looked like a mobile game. Yeah, I mean it's not supposed to be a graphical powerhouse. It's like saying that
that's like me.
Rezo gun looks like trash. So
that game couldn't be done mobile. No freaking way. The animations in that game are phenomenal. What is he looking at?
No, that's like me.
Well, you've seen it in person, running at 60 frames too.
That's like me walking up to my kids while they're watching an old Silly Symphonies Disney classic cartoon and smacking them on the back head. What the heck are you doing? You could be watching full 4K HD cartoons.
Hey, Top Dog actually had a decent question for once. He says, "Will Cuphead play better than Metal Slug?" Metal Slug's a good game, man, but I think they're two different types of games. So
yeah, two different types of games. Yeah, I understand like the difficulty level and like the side scrollers, the shooting and all kinds of stuff, but that's where it stops. It's nothing similar to that. But I can understand like someone that likes R-Type as well, liking that type of game because it's kind of difficult like that.
Okay, well, nonetheless, it looks to be something a lot of people might play this year, as well as Crackdown, Forza 7, State of Decay 2. I cannot wait for early next year, supposedly. Co-op in that game is going to be phenomenal. So one of my followers on Xbox was talking about maybe Microsoft should really market that game in between the Walking Dead commercials. I think that's very smart because State of Decay is the best zombie game ever made, in my opinion.
Brilliant. And that's what they do with their own games. The Telltale games, they advertise it during The Walking Dead as well. Even their mobile games, they advertise it during The Walking Dead. So it would benefit, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. And we're gonna go ahead and close it down, but we're gonna say thanks for everyone that showed up. Hit that like button if you like the show, if you support the channel, we appreciate it. And also be sure and go back and check the video on a repost. If you want to check out any of the topics from the beginning of the video, it's all there. There'll be some links down in the description. And if you want to talk to anybody from the chat, like I said, comment on the video. RDX crew is always replying to comments as well. Yep. We'll start with Colt Eastwood as an outro.
We'll do an outro. How about that? Yeah, Colt Eastwood. Add me on Xbox Live at Colt Eastwood or Twitter. I'm always talking to you guys on there. So that's if you want to talk to me, if you want to ask me a question or wonder why I said something stupid on my channel, Colt Eastwood on YouTube. I love talking to you guys.
All right, Luca, what you got going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for supporting us in the chat. You guys rock. You're awesome. And also, D, thanks for coming on, bro. It was awesome. We had a great show tonight, and I was, I love you guys, man. But anyway, Yep, true, very true. But you can catch me at the Ash and Luca on Twitter, and then I do Speak Podcast Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, D, what you got going on, bud?
Okay, so I'm hopefully Thursday it'll be up, that video on the QLED versus the OLED. So I'm working hard on that. You can catch me on Twitter at D_batch, and of course on YouTube at DBatch, and just look up for that video. You guys, you'll be surprised by it, and hopefully it'll help you guys decide on getting your 4K TV for Xbox One X when it comes out in November.
Yeah, a lot of sales coming from 4K TVs this year for sure. All day, what do you got going on, bud?
Nothing much, man. I'll be finishing up Hellblade this weekend, and if you guys want to follow me, check me out on allday_digital on Twitter. And thanks for the Mr. Goat Man for coming out, helping us out with the panel. Bye.
Yeah, that's D's nickname, the Goat Petter. So, once again, guys, we do appreciate the support. Be sure and finger bang that like button, and we are out.